So here are the rest of the 5.5 notes. This is our last example, trying to simplify complex fractions. So basically a complex fraction is a fraction with a fraction in the numerator or the denominator. So if you see this problem here, we have 5 over x plus 4 divided by 1 divided by x plus 4 plus 2 over x. So we have a fraction in the numerator and then 2 fractions in the denominator. Now there are 2 ways of trying to simplify. Option 1 would be writing the numerator and denominator as single fractions, then dividing. Now the book shows you this way. So if you would like to look at this, you can just go to the textbook or the online textbook to look at this. I'm going to show you a second way of doing this. So instead of just doing the numerator and denominator, what we're going to do is multiply the numerator and denominator by the LCD of every fraction. So by this time you guys should be really good at LCDs, hopefully, okay? Because we have been working on these for a very, very long time, or for a little bit, okay? So we've been doing these for the past few examples. Now remember, our least common denominator, or you could say least common multiple, remember those words are used interchangeably. We have to use everything we see in the denominator. So we see our 3 fractions. Let's see what we have. We have an x plus 4. So we're definitely going to have that as part of our LCD here. What's another thing we see that's in our LCD or in the denominators of our fractions? Well, I also see an x. So I'm going to use that. Now, though you see 2 of the x plus 4s in the denominator, we only need to use 1. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both the numerator of my complex fraction and the denominator of my complex fraction by the LCD here. So I have x times x plus 4, and then in the denominator, I have the same thing here. Now, what we're really trying to do is cancel the denominators in our complex fraction. So we're trying to get rid of this x plus 4 in our numerator, and then the x plus 4 and the x here in our denominator. So what we're going to do is take this step by step. So I'm going to talk about the numerator of our complex fraction first. So I'm going to scroll down so I have enough room here. Okay, so let's talk about the numerator. I'm going to rewrite it so at least then we know what we have. The numerator of our complex fraction is we have 5 over x plus 4. And now that's being multiplied by our LCD, which is x times x plus 4. Now notice this LCD is actually in the numerator, and we're not multiplying both the numerator and denominator of this fraction, just the numerator. The idea is we would do this so that we can cancel anything that's in the denominator. We're trying to get rid of it. Now I multiply across, so I do 5 times x to give me 5x. And then I do x plus 4. And the denominator, basically I just do x plus 4 times 1. What should that give me here? Now if you notice, we both have an x plus 4 in the numerator and in the denominator. So that allows us to cancel both of them out. So now all we're left with is 5x. So simplifying the numerator of our complex fraction, now we just have 5x. I'm going to rewrite that up here. So I'm going to set this equal to 5x. Okay. Now I'm going to do something very similar to the denominator of our complex fraction. So coming down here, now number 2 is going to be dealing with the denominator of our complex fraction. So our denominator here is we have 1 over x plus 4 plus 2 over x. Now this whole thing is being multiplied by our LCD, which is x times x plus 4. Which remember, we are only multiplying the numerators of our fractions. So remember, I put it over 1. Now I'm going to take this entire phrase and distribute it to the 2 and to the 1. So I do 1 times x plus 4 which is all over x plus 4. And then I do it with my second fraction. So I have 2 times the x and x plus 4. So I get 2x and then x plus 4. And that'll still be over x. Now, just like we did before, we are going to cancel things we see in the numerator and the denominator. Now we're going to deal with our first fraction. Notice we have x plus 4 and x plus 4 both in the numerator and denominator. Those cancel. And then in our second fraction, we have an x in the numerator and then an x in the denominator. We can cancel that out. So now all we're left with is x plus, and then we're going to do 2 times x plus 4. Now I take this entire phrase and I bring it back to my complex fraction. So I have x plus 2 times x plus 4. Now what I do is in the denominator, you can see I can distribute the 2 to the x and to the 4. So now I have 5x in the numerator. That doesn't change because we can't really simplify that anymore. And then I have x plus 2x plus 8. And then I combine like terms in my denominator. So I still have 5x. And then in my denominator, I have now 3x plus 8. Now we cannot cancel the 5x and 3x or simplify that anymore because notice here we have a plus 8. There's an addition sign, so we can't break that apart. So then this will be my final answer. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure you come in before or after school, or you can always email me. This is the rest of the 5.5 notes. Make sure if you need to pause the video or slow it down so you can get all of the notes here. So this will allow you to now finish up the homework. So now you can get all the way up to 36 even in your homework.